Welcome back to Omni Garage. So tonight is basically another follow-on from the video we made the other day where we're going to polish this glass, and we're going to show you how we use it, the tools we use, and the types of products that we think will help you get your glass looking real crisp. And you've had a go on the other side, you sort of cheated on us a little bit, eh?
Yeah, I wanted to play around with the tools a bit earlier this evening, but what we're working with here is some pretty messed up glass. So if you have a look here, we've got pretty heavy water spotting, and this is a combination from improper washing techniques. Probably a lot of hard water spots from the car not being dried after it's been washed, and I'd imagine dozens and dozens and dozens of car washes over the years.
So to give you a little bit of a backstory about how you get water spots on your paint and on the glass, is that when you use your household tap water, it's got lots of minerals inside of that. When the water evaporates, dries off, you're left with all the minerals, and that's what sticks onto the glass. And then over time, years and years of that, it gets baked on. It's really hard to remove. So we have made some videos on water spot remover. We found an alright one, like it does work sometimes. You've got to be super careful with it because it's really aggressive. So on glass, we've had people say it causes streakiness and stuff like that. So if you're going to use Car Pro water spot remover, what's it called, 3.0?
Spotless 2.0. And actually, if you come to the back window here, this was actually one of the windows that we used to do a test spot on it. So if we come across here, you'll see there's kind of a line in the glass. This side here, we use the water spot remover, and as you can see on there, it's done a reasonable job. But when you get here, there's still a lot left in the glass.
That does work. We have had some cars where it doesn't work. We've also had some cars where polishing the glass doesn't work, and we've had to use a combination. So I'd say if you're going to use water spot remover, just be really, really careful. You don't want to use it on the wing mirrors and stuff like that. You want to be careful around trim. You definitely don't want it to dry. You probably want to wash your car afterwards, so I'd be really careful with that. We're just going to use polish on here. We already know, because you already tried it, it's going to work on this car, but polishing doesn't always get you there either. So we'll show you some tips and tricks. We'll show you a few things that work, and we're basically giving you some things that you can have in your toolbox so that when you come up to a situation like we had a couple of weeks ago where you might need to pull out a few different things to get the result you're after.
So we might actually start with the back quarter window here. This is probably the worst on the car, and because it's privacy glass as well, it's really easy to see, given you've got that black background to it. So this would be a really good test spot for us to use the Hybrid Mini and the Nano.
And so what's really important here is that when you are polishing glass, you're not polishing it like you would paint. You're not going to be removing any scratches out of this glass. The hardest thing we've found is Car Pro Siri glass, and even then it's not going to remove scratches. You're just cleaning the surface up. We are cleaning this up by removing the water spots and all the gunk on here. You want to use a compound probably. I would start with something that's not really that aggressive. So we've got Jessica here that we're going to use, and you can go up to something a bit more aggressive as you see fit. But we're really just cleaning this up.
Siri glass is good, but I find we've just had diminishing returns versus using a compound. Like a compound for me does 95% of what Siri glass does, because I'm never polishing trying to achieve scratch removal. If you get to that point, you probably need to replace your glass.
So you want to use probably a small pad, like a 3-inch, for the bulk of the work here, which we do have the new Rupees tool down there, and then you want to use your Hybrid Nano to get in nice and close around the sides here. This is a new tool for us. We haven't had this before, and I really think that this will help get in the corners here, because this is the part where we usually leave missing, and you've done a nice beautiful job for most of it, and then there's these little bits here, and it's like, oh.
Yeah, this is quite easy to do, because what you can do is you can put the window down a smidge and you can get right to the top. But there's absolutely nothing you can do when you're working the bottom, the corners, you're right, like that's such a difficult spot.
And so this tool here will help get us not all the way in there, but a lot more than what our 3-inch would.
And although this is a new tool to us, we've got a bit of experience with in the past. We have had, I don't know, probably a couple of months where we've had a demo unit in the garage, so we've had a bit of hands-on time with it. And the way we typically set this up when we're polishing glass is we attach the rotary unit onto it. So there's no need for dual action. We're not at risk of burning through the glass.
You've given me the nastiest pad here as well.
Yeah.
Look at this. This is
going to become extremely matted very quick. Glass is kind of where the pads go to die.
Yeah. You don't need your best, flashiest, nicest pad in the world to do glass.
And when we're polishing the paint, there's a pretty specific method that you want to do when it comes to your cross-hatching, your passes. You can get pretty loose when it comes to polishing glass. You don't really have to keep any sort of method. And the other thing you can do as well is you can pretty much go full steam on the speed. So Glenn's got that machine set to speed number 5, maxing it out. Again, there's no risk of burning through like you would on paint. One of the great things about Jessica on the glass is you can pretty much dry wipe this without needing to use towels here. So a razor is really good, but you can get away with doing some dry wipes.
And it's low dusting as well, which is real perfect in the garage. Although we don't really have great results with Jessica on paint, but it seems to be, because we have a lot of it, we just seem to use it on glass, which works pretty well. And a couple of passes through there. The glass is relatively warm, so we've put a bit of heat in there.
I mean, you can see straight away on camera the got a bit of haze in there, more so from not using a razor.
And you can see when you get to the corner. You can see coming around here, like this area, this area, this area, and up there is where I haven't really got. But that's why we have the Nano with the 1 inch on there. Take that a little bit further.
The other thing to keep in mind as well is that typically we would go ahead and we would tape up all of these black plastic trim just so we don't get any polish in there. This car we're using as a bit of a test pilot, so I'm not concerned about taping up because eventually I'll clean all of that trim. Actually getting polish in there just gives me a good excuse to get it looking nice. So typically though, you want to tape all of these areas up just to eliminate the need to clean up polish residue because it's not fun to try and get that off. We've got a wool pad, wool refuse pad. We've got a wool refuse pad and we have the rotary set on the Nano here.
So now we'll wipe off and we'll see the results. So the only part I can't really get is a small little corner in here, and I'd get a toothpick and a microfiber towel, and I would just, you know, push it out of there just to bring that corner up a little bit. So let's see what we've got.
It's CarPro Eraser, so it's like an alcohol-based polish residue remover, or polish and oil remover.
I mean, for 30 seconds worth of work.
Super quick. You've had less than 3 minutes on the polisher total to do that quarter window. Not all cars are this easy though. This glass is correcting out nice and easily.
I mean, there's a little bit of, I suppose, what would you call it, fibres from the microfiber towel on there, but that's pretty
once we get the glass cleaner on there and give it a really thorough clean.
I can see a few there, and I can see a few there. And just real tight along the bottom here. We could, but when you compare it to that corner, where I haven't been able to get, it's come a very, very long way. So I could hit that again.
Go one more pass. And then what I'll do...
So you could either decide you wanted to do one more pass and go over it another couple of times with the same cutting compound, or you might go, hey look, I just need something a little bit more aggressive, so you could find something like, I don't know, Sonax Cut Max, something like that, and you could try that out. But compound on the glass is magical. You reckon it's done it?
I reckon it's done it. Again, you've got to remember we are in extremely harsh lighting conditions with that Ryobi light set up behind us. So it's pretty much as bad as it's going to show the condition of the water spots, the paint, the scratches. With that back quarter.
Now if you had some haze in here and you're struggling to get rid of it, you could then use a finishing polish. Sonax Perfect Finish, to make that look a bit nicer, but we're pretty good. There's a few corners, like a spot there. I know it's just a bit of polish.
So what we'll do is we'll move across to this back window. I've actually just started polishing the majority, so halfway with the iBrib Mini, so the 3-inch, and then we stop about this point here, and all of this still needs to be corrected out. So I'm going to work on that. Glenn's going to pick up the Nano and continue cutting in on the bottom, and then the sides of this window here. And then we'll show you what the final results look like on the privacy glass window. We'll give you a little tip for the top here as well. I've just done that section of probably about 4 or 5 passes on this half of the glass, and you see when you come across here, definitely catch it when you get back to those water spots. Alright, a little tip when you get to the top, and this is especially useful if you don't have access to the Rupes Nano, is when you get to the top of your glass, if we put that, I don't know how far down we are, is that enough?
That's pretty good. Yep. You're going to get a little bit of polish on the inside though.
That's right. So what you can do is you can put your glass down just a tad, and then this will give you enough room here for the dual action to actually be able to work to cut into the corner here. So good tip if you don't have a Nano, although what you will need to do is you will still need to cut in other areas. You might not get quite a good as a result. Now bear in mind, hence why I'm spreading the product in a pretty unconventional way here, you are at the risk of spreading this all through the interior. So what you can do is if you open up the door, if you have a grab handle, you can get this in here and you can work it in a fashion to kind of tuck it in. I'm not going to do that, but I would recommend you do that if your interior is nice and clean. Just avoids this getting everywhere inside. And then you just polish like normal. And this is on glass as well, where you can be a little bit unconventional the way you do it. There's no way I'd ever polish like this on paint. On paint, you'd be coming here, up, across. But because it's glass, options are endless. We're at the final window here, so we've got this front kind of, it's an awkward little quarter window. Great for visibility, terrible to get to when you're trying to polish this. So there's no way that 3-inch machine's getting behind there. The only way...
Well, let's just show you the footprint of the 3-inch.
Yeah, throw that in there. There's zero chance.
You might get that spot. You can't get any of this because this is all rubbing on there. And you might struggle to get that. So you're probably getting less than half of that. I don't even think, you can't get that.
No.
So we have the iBrib Nano, and the footprint of this is a lot smaller. So we can get there, we can get there, we can get there, we can get all of that.
And then what we can do is we can take that extension bar off, which will enable us to pretty much get flat behind the mirror.
Yeah, we can then flip this tool up, we can come to there with it on, and we can then come around this side. So we just get a little bit more, and then you're right, if we take this off, that'll get us a little bit closer. So we should be able to get most of that mirror done. This is an area that we would have given the 3-inch the best opportunity we can, but we wouldn't have got...
Well, you'd have to hand polish.
You know, we would have got that, but we wouldn't have got any of this. So
yeah.
I feel like it just takes the job to that little bit extra level by having the ability to have this tool here. So how about I take this extension bar off completely?
So now we've got the that extension taken off, and we can pretty much get in all of this area here. It's going to be a little bit tight when we kind of get to the bottom there, but we can get, look at that, I'm spreading all the polish around in there too.
Nice.
We can pretty much get all the way down. It's going to get a bit awkward in this little section here, but we'll do our absolute best in there. Oh, and we're going to fling some product here, aren't we?
It is a bit fiddly in there, but I mean,
there's no way you could do this without having this tool, and
No.
we're still not going to be able to get all the way in there.
so a couple of passes with Jess Car Correction compound on both tools, on the Hybrid Nano and on the new Rupes 3-inch, the battery powered tool. And we've got this glass looking pretty good. We haven't removed all the water spots. There's areas where there's a few, but I would say this glass is looking way better for the little amount of effort that we put in than when we started. And you pretty happy with the results?
Oh yeah, night and day difference. We've spent an hour tonight working on this glass down the side of the car. And I mean, just the reflections in there, a little bit tough to get in some of these areas, even with the Hybrid Nano. But I mean, night and day difference. You can actually see through this glass now.
But I would say how to clean your glass up is to polish it with a cutting compound. You might want to use a water spot remover. You might need a combination, but I would say start with this. It's super easy and it delivers pretty good results. So if you're interested in this type of content from Omni Garage, subscribe to the channel so you get notified, and that's it. Thanks for watching. See you on the next one.